Hello 225 enjoyers, this is going to be a video on how to hit 225 or 225 pounds on bench. Um, it's quite a simple formula, I'm not going to lie. Like, if you just, I'm not going to say this is the end all be all of like how to hit 225 on bench or anything like that. Most of these principles actually apply to stuff like deadlift and squat as well, other than bench, so that's pretty cool. But sorry if I ramble in this video, I'm going off script and I'm just going to waffle my way. But these are just a couple of points that I noted down on what helped me hit 225 or 100 kg. It's quite a simple formula. I mean, like, as I said, it's not end all be all. So there could be there's obviously variance between every single person that does this. But I'm just trying to help out as much as I can. And yeah, I hope this benefits you in some way. But getting straight into it. If you've started this journey on how to hit 225 or you're halfway there, these are just going to be some pretty simple points that might help you in the way. But if you feel like you're past this point and you're already locked in the gym, just like pushing the weights up, and you want to get to these kind of points, I suggest you skip a little bit further on in the video. I might timestamp or not, depending how lazy I'm in the editing. But if you've started the gym, then I suggest you set a schedule. And what I mean by this is, it also builds into my point of finding what regime you like push-pull legs and stuff like that. If I was starting out again, and I had to suggest a little schedule to do, I'd probably recommend doing push-pull legs, because not only do you hit a wide range of muscles, but you also do that in a pretty relatively short amount of time. So I'd suggest doing push-pull legs. It's easy to get started on, and it will be pretty effective for your rookie gains. So for the first point, I'd probably say push-pull legs. You can even do like the bro split or wherever split you find looks the most attractive to you or has the most exercises that you like. But setting a schedule is definitely important, because it helps you set a clear defined path on how you're going to do your gym journey, and especially how you're going to bench properly. It can also really help with commitment and motivation and stuff like that, which I think is really important in the gym, because a lot of people lack that, including myself. So that's that. For the second point, I'd say if you're new to the gym, probably just go and try out each machine for their respective day. So like if you were training chest, you could probably do like machine chest press, or you could do a dumbbell variation if you want. You could try doing different incline variations for dumbbell to hit your upper chest, or incline bench if you prefer doing it with a barbell rather than a dumbbell. And for lower chests, you could probably do like decline flies or any other decline exercise, I guess. But what I'm trying to get at is just try as much as you like to see which exercises suit your fit, and that's pretty much it, honestly. Because I also think that finding exercises that you're quite passionate about and stuff that you enjoy will really help you in the long run. Because if you're doing exercise that you just hate, that you're just doing for, well, growth, I don't think it's that sustainable as, something that you'd enjoy doing is probably something that you do more in the long term. So obviously there's more gains in that. For the third point, I'd probably say it's pretty simple. I mean, do you train for strength or do you train for looks? Do you train for both? If you do for both and you want to look good while also being stronger, you could probably do something like a body recomposition. If you're training for strength, then it goes into my point later, but progressive overload is a good place to start. And if you're going for looks, then just hypertrophy training. It's pretty simple in that regard, I guess. On to the fourth and final point of this beginner arc. I guess getting a friend has been extremely helpful to me, because I actually first started going to the gym with my mate, and I'm not gonna lie, it's the most helpful thing I've ever done. Because recently, since we've started locking in on our jobs and stuff like that, we haven't had that much time to really go to the gym with each other, because our shifts are so different. But at the start of the gym, it was extremely beneficial to go with a friend, because if you were feeling lazy one day and your friend wasn't, then at least in my situation, my friend would convince me so much, or just force me to go to the gym with him, which really helped with commitment and motivation and stuff. Especially motivation, because me and my friend are very competitive. So imagine your friend hits a higher bench press than you, and then you've been training for weeks to hit it and you just don't get it. Not gonna lie, that pissed me off. So I train as hard as possible to get that PR as well, if not overtake him, and train as hard as he has intensity, etc. So this is, I think getting a friend is really beneficial if you can. I mean, if you have no friends, then obviously it's difficult, but it is what it is. Alright, so with these beginner things out of the way, it's time to go into the more nitpicky stuff, I guess. Some of these are pretty simple, but it's more like in depth. So if you haven't already, which would be pretty surprising, but I mean, I probably did the same at the time I was getting this. Well, if you haven't set a specific rep range for yourself or your friend, I'd probably do that. Again, this also ties into the progressive overload. If you set a specific rep range for yourself, depending on the weight you do, if you beat that rep range each week, then you move up the weights and you slowly progress like that. So I'm just going to write weight progression, because if I were you, I would recommend doing 3 sets of 10, because that's pretty standard. If you're going pretty hardcore with it, I'd say 5 sets of 4. So if you don't know what that is, then essentially it's 10 reps per set. If you get 10 reps per every set that you do, which in this case is 3, then you'll be able to increase the weight that you do, and it's pretty linear from there. I mean, if you want 70 kg for 3 sets of 10 reps and you manage to get that 3 sets of 10 that week, then what you could do is move up to, let's say, 75. I'd only move up in 5 kg intervals, by the way. This is because if you go from, let's say, doing 3 sets of 10 of 70 kg one week and then you move up to 80 kg, you're essentially going to be tanking your weight so hard because you're not going to be able to do it for that many reps. So the thing that I would recommend is, instead of going up in 10 kg intervals, what you can do is go up in 5 kg instead. This is because if you go in 10 kg up, imagine you were stuck on 70 and you managed to get it for 3 sets of 10, right? Imagine if you moved up to 80, you would be able to get much less than 3 sets of 10, because your body just simply isn't adapted to the weight, or it just hasn't had the time to really recover and get used to it. Basically, what I'd recommend is, instead of going to 80, you could go up to 75, which would be so much more beneficial, as you could actually do it for a decent amount of weight. So the way I'd recommend doing it is, I'd say, if you get 6 reps on the new weight that you've moved up to for around 2 sets, then I'd recommend moving down. This is because you're clearly not adapted to the weight and you should probably be doing an easier weight. But if you just moved up to it and you've moved up in a 5 kg interval, you should probably do like 72.5 kg. And if that's too hard, just go back down to 70 and just do more reps for that range of sets. And the reason I'd recommend that is because if you're only getting 6 reps and the max you're supposed to be getting is 10 per set, ideally, then it clearly shows that your body isn't used to it, and in order to give it time to adapt to the new weight, you should probably be moving down whilst your body gets used to the new weight. But that's probably a topic for another video. I'll explain it in more detail, but if you really want to get stronger, the best thing that I've ever done is progressive overload. That's been so crazy for my weight, and it's been really, really helpful for me so far. It's honestly like, if you like video games and you like the video game progression, like ranked and stuff, you can honestly think it as a video game if you find it easier for yourself. But yeah, if I were you, I'd identify a rep range, find the weight that you can do that rep range at, and just vary it depending on how well you do. So a second thing is intensity, or going to failure. Now, going to failure is pretty easy. It's pretty self-explanatory. Just push yourself until you can't no more. It's basically muscle maxing, I'm not gonna lie. By going as hard as you can effectively like max out your muscles and just train as hard as you can, and you will see progress, especially if you're new. The beginner gains will go so crazy if you just train to a failure, especially as, I'm not sure if this is true, I'm pretty sure this is true, but most of the hard-earned strength and gains are earned during the failure sets, so I'd recommend doing that. Another thing I'd recommend is, if you're struggling with going up weights and hitting 225, you should probably increase your weight. This is because, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, like, just like the intensity, if you're struggling with getting a weight up, then you should probably increase your body weight, because body weight can be a pretty key factor in getting stronger. As yeah, mass can move mass, not necessarily all the time, but you know, it helps. Going on to form. Form is a pretty niche thing. Lots of people enjoy different forms. This also goes hand in hand with bar grip width, and what I mean by that is basically the simplest form that you can do. Don't arch like a bridge or anything like that. You should add arch for sure. But basically what you should do is you should push your shoulders together so they're squeezed up against each other, and then push them down. So basically just squash them together and then squash them down. It creates a pretty natural arch, which is basically really important so you don't snap your shoulders or injure yourself doing bench. Yeah, so just doing that will be a natural arch for you, and it'll be all you need. I mean, 225, like, unless you go too crazy with it and you're like 40 kg going for it and you're pretty inexperienced with the gym, you will snap your shoulders. But if you're a pretty average dude just looking to hit it, or an average girl just looking to hit it, then you should be fine benching 100 with pretty bad form. You can get away with bad form, but I'd recommend just simply tucking in your shoulders just to help yourself not get injured in that regard. For the next one, for a diet, I'd recommend you probably, honestly, diet, like, it doesn't, because the weight isn't like super crazy, it doesn't matter too much what you eat, as long as it goes hand in hand with what you're training for. If you're going for like a bodybuilding approach and still want to hit 100 or 225, then I mean, you've got to really you've got to count your calories, you've got to do all that stuff. This video is way too long as it is to incorporate all of that, so I'll probably do a sub video on that. But if you're doing like hypertrophy training, obviously progressive overload still, but your diet is still really important. And you've got to make sure you're counting your calories and all of that boring stuff. Typically, the way I did it was just literally eat whatever I want. I know it's not good advice and it's really bad for your health, but I naturally, as my body weight increased, my strength just increased. So increasing my weight wasn't that difficult because I literally just ate whatever I could find, and then I just became naturally stronger. And if you're training for strength, then I wouldn't really recommend focusing on your diet too much. Unless you have like a risk of getting like a heart attack or like clogged arteries, then probably shouldn't focus on your diet too much. Because I mean, have you looked at the way strength builders look? I mean, they all got a nice fat belly to them, and well, they're putting up high numbers. So I guess it really depends on what you're training for, and I guess it varies on a person to person basis. But if you're training and you just really don't care, the only thing you care about is hitting 225, then honestly just eat what you want and just hope you gain weight naturally. Because that's the way I did it, and I also enjoyed it the most rather than counting my calories and putting too much pressure on myself like that. Now, sleep is very important. Now, I've personally done some testing on myself for this. I got some anecdotal data, but I've noticed that sleep times under 6 to 7 hours every day will be so bad for you, or at least for me. My strength, like I usually lose a couple reps off my sets, and will usually affect my overall workout because I'm so tired and I have no energy. So if you're going for that big PR, honestly, 7 to 8 hours or above, not only will you be able to recover efficiently from your last couple of workouts, but you'll also be energized and ready to get into it the next time you go for a PR. So yeah, 7 to 8 hours each night would be very cool. And then warm up. Typically for a warm up, if you're going for 100 kg, I'd probably recommend doing the bar into probably like 60 kg. Yeah, I'd recommend doing the bar for about 10 reps, and then 60 kg for probably like 3 to 5-ish reps, depending on what you feel comfortable with. And then before you hit 100, I probably say do something like 75 kg, because I personally, if I was doing this, then I'd feel properly warmed up if I did this many warm-up reps and sets. Yeah, just one set of each of these. This many sets usually gets you warmed up efficiently, and I feel like that would be pretty beneficial for you if you were going for this. Yeah, so a quick TLDR, I might have been waffling, but just do PPL or anything you find comfortable for a schedule. For the exercises you like, find any exercise that you find comfortable that efficiently trains, well, your chest in this case because it's bench. So for your training, identify if you're doing hypertrophy versus progressive overload if you want to look good or just get stronger. Get a friend because that really helps with motivation. Allocate a certain rep range to yourself. Go into failure, that's pretty obvious. Increase your body weight if you can. Make sure you've got your form and your bar grip correct. Typically if you use a wide grip, then it hits more of the chest. And if you do a shorter grip, then it hits triceps. So just find whatever feels most comfortable for you. Diet, it depends also what you're training on. If you want to count calories or just eat whatever. For your warm up, I've got it written down here. Just go to the bar 60 kg, 75 kg. Do the bar for 10, 60 kg for 3 to 5 reps, and then 75 for 1. And yeah, that's about it, honestly. Sorry if I was rambling a bit. It's a bit hard to get your thoughts down in a short video. It's just a little bit of these factors. Honestly, it's not a crazy process. You just need to kind of just lock in, find what you enjoy doing, be consistent with it, and yeah, there's no real crazy formula to it. Just a bunch of these factors all together, and you'll be fine, honestly. If you somehow got this far into the video, then I appreciate you. And yeah, I really hope this helped out, but if it didn't, I'm not surprised because I'm rambling a bit. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!